Hello, everyone, and Happy New Year. So if you are just joining us now, we're starting a few minutes early. We will officially start at the top of the hour. But real quick, my name is Melissa Tosetti. I am the founder of The Savvy Life.
And I'm Kevin Gibbons. I'm a vice president. I'm her sidekick.
Right. Not my ventriloquist dummy either. So we were just kind of joking around about as we were starting because we're getting a little bit close to each other. So it's just not funny without the backstory.
Yeah.
That being said, one of the things that is kind of funny about this particular date, January 2nd, is that it's actually my son's 13th birthday. Or it is his birthday. And I always find it hilarious because the poor kid, on his birthday, January 2nd, it's the day that everybody wants to get super serious about their money, which is what my job is, so I always have to work. And it's the day that everybody wants to go back to working out, which is what my husband's job is. And so we, you
always have to work on his birthday.
He always has to work on his birthday. So we took him to go see the new Star Wars movie this morning. So I played a little bit of hooky this morning, and then his favorite Chinese restaurant, and now we are here with you. On this second day of the new year, new decade. It's crazy.
There's a lot of discussion about that, and we go through this every 10 years. When you first start a year, you start in year one, right? You don't start in year zero. You start in year one. So this is actually the last year of the decade. The decade really starts next year, but everybody gets excited because the number changes, and so I gave up making that argument, making that fight probably 30 years ago. But
except for right now.
Well, I have to hear every so often just say, yes, I know that it isn't really. Yes, I know, but I gave up on it. So
yeah, and I just like round numbers, so it works for me.
Which is what most people do. That's how most people think. Okay,
yeah. So yeah, it was funny. I went to see my doctor on New Year's Eve, the 31st. And I asked him, I'm like, am I your last patient of the decade? He's like, oh my God, you are.
See, that's why, Arthur C. Clarke got it right. He called his book 2001: A Space Odyssey because 2001 is the first year of the 21st century.
Yeah.
Okay, but nobody gets that except for scientists and nerds, so.
Yeah, well.
I'm both.
And I just went to a Star Wars movie, and I'm a mad, crazy Star Wars fan, so luckily my kid is too.
So Happy New Year. And if you want to call it Happy Decade, feel free. I will not argue with you.
All right, and with that, so we were talking about Dante's birthday party. I did learn a very important lesson yesterday, though, January 1st. So one of my favorite things to do is to bake. And unfortunately, I only do cakes maybe once a year on his birthday.
Yeah, you do bread and you do
a lot
cookies
of other
and
stuff,
things like that, brownies and stuff,
So one of my goals this year is to take a bread or a cake decorating class, because first of all, I made him a leaning tower. It was like the 3-tiered cake, but it's off to the side, and then it was small tiers, so small cake pans, and so I realized that I couldn't fit Happy Birthday Dante in it. So I thought, okay, it's easy. I'll just write a 13. Well, it's the one's kind of over here and the 3's over here, and so it's a good goal for me.
So a while ago, you and your mom took a baking class. I want to say down in the Monterey area. Was that cookie decorating?
It was in Fresno. It was a cookie decorating class.
Okay.
And also hadn't decorated cookies since taking that class in April. So 8 months is way too long of a time to spend to not
doing it, especially when you really want it. You really want it to be good. You know, your son, you want it to be good for himself.
I will say this though, and I think that this is there's something that you can say, extend this to the idea of the Savvy Life. When it comes to like the cookie decorating that you see on places like the food TV or cake decorating, you cannot bake and decorate in the same day. You do it, 2 days apart, and both times I made the mistake. Like I know this, and I still did it anyway, and so it's one of the reasons why the cake is that. It's like that. So again, patience and planning is the key.
Yes, to so many things.
Yeah. All right. So we will start officially. If you are just joining us, my name is Melissa Tosetti. I am the founder of The Savvy Life.
And I'm Kevin Gibbons. I'm the vice president of The Savvy Life.
So right now we are live on Caffeine TV, but we are recording this session and we will be uploading it to YouTube. So it's kind of a fun thing is that we get a chance to have a YouTube presence, but to be able to interact with folks here on Caffeine TV. So there's 2 different ways that you can interact with us, or one way actually is to log on to Caffeine TV. You can register. It takes just a minute or so. I think it's like your name, your email address, and you're good to go. And then you can actually ask us questions. So you can type in questions, and we get that chance to to talk with you.
And if you follow us on Caffeine TV, then whenever we come on the air, you'll get an email notification saying, "Hey, the Savvy Life is on the air," so a reminder to tune in and watch us.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And today, January 2nd, is the day that most people want to be thinking about their money. Either they're super excited about the new year and the goals that they have, or they might be feeling a little twinges and a little trepidation about, January 15th when the credit card bill arrives.
Yeah.
But, we don't want to talk about beating up or credit card bills or anything like that. Actually, what we really want to talk about is introduce you to a concept that we have been giving to audiences for close to a decade, actually.
10 years, yeah.
And that is the 1% challenge. And the idea behind the 1% challenge is that you basically incrementally increase your savings goals as you go along.
Right. And this ties in with the last video that we did on New Year's resolutions and a couple of the articles that have come out recently, which is that if you have a goal, you're not going to achieve it in one lump sum. You're not going to say, I've never done any exercising at all. I'm going to start exercising and I'm going to do 50 push-ups right now. You do that, you're going to set yourself up for failure or hurt yourself.
Bake a cake and decorate it the same day. Right?
The way that you do it, if you go to a good physical trainer, is to say, all right, how many can you do? And then we'll start off with 5, do that for a period of time, then we'll go to 10 and increase slowly. This idea of the 1% challenge is exactly the same thing with regards to savings.
And this is something that we've been introducing to audiences that of every income level. So a lot of folks, when they first think about this idea of just saving 1%, we live in an extreme society.
Yeah.
And it's nothing. Yeah, it's like it's almost like we want to make it hurt. Well, the unfortunate thing is for most people, the minute it hurts, we don't want to do it anymore, and then we back off.
Yeah.
And we have had such success with clients and folks that come to our website over the years with this. So the idea is that today, right now, either while you're watching us or as soon as you get done watching us, you're going to sit down and calculate what 1% of your take-home pay is. Okay, so pull out a check, figure out what that 1%. To give you an idea, if your take-home pay is $2,000, 1% is $20. And your goal then is to sit down and actually set up some type of automatic transfer that every payday, $20 or your 1% is going to go toward your savings account. So that's where you start.
Yep.
Okay. And then from there, the next step, in that same moment when you're sitting down and you're making that setting up that transfer, you're also going to write in your calendar 3 months from now to save another 1%. And every 3 months, that's the idea. Every 3 months, you're just going to increase that up by 1%. And what ends up happening is by a little over a year from now, you're going to be saving 5% of your income. Okay. Most Americans are not doing that.
Yeah. So that, you may think that 5% is not very much. I can't live on that. No, but now you've got something started where you're saving some money. And then once you get in that habit, you can expand that and go look at other things.
Right. It's the idea that you're building that muscle.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first $20, it's a pizza.
Yeah.
I mean, a pizza costs more. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
So it's easy, right? And then it's going to be, $40. Well, you already know what it feels like to not have that $20. You're just going to, ease in, and it's not a shock to the system.
Yeah.
I used to have a particular speech that I did, and one of the things that I often talk to, or I opened with this, is how people so often think, well, if I just made more money, I'd be okay. And that always makes me cringe a little bit, or a lot. And the reason is because there are so many actors, athletes, musicians that made all of the money and lost everything because they did not have good money habits, because of overspending. So to a degree, yes, you have to have a certain amount of money in order to be financially solvent. But then from there, once you hit that tipping point, it's all about the habit.
Yeah.
And so giving yourself that opportunity to lean in is huge, right? So 1% at a time.
Yeah.
My catchphrase is, I'm just catching it or remembering it now, was, all those people, they had every opportunity to start saving 10% or start saving 50% of their income.
Yeah, and they didn't.
And they didn't, right? So you have got to start somewhere. And if you try to save too aggressively, it can so very often backfire.
Yeah.
and that savings account becomes a holding account,
Yeah.
right? That you're tapping all the time.
Yeah, and that's a really big thing because to expand upon what you're saying, if you do save aggressively, you will find yourself not being able to adequately cover your expenses, and like Melissa says, it becomes a holding account, and that's very demoralizing because you put money in there, you see it go up to like $1,000, and you think I'm doing really well, and then something goes wrong, just a little bit of a miscalculation, and I've got to take $400 out of that, and now instead of $1,000, there's $600 in there. I got to build it back up again, and then it gets up to 1,000. Something else happens. So if you save too aggressively, you're living too close to the edge. By doing this 1%. You can adjust your lifestyle and figure out where your real expenses are so that you don't have that problem. Because there's nothing more demoralizing than seeing your savings go up and then down and up and then down.
Yeah.
It's very demoralizing.
And then you think, oh, I'm just not a good saver, and you want to
Yeah.
throw everything
Yeah.
out. And that's not true. It's just you were trying to be too aggressive. We do the same thing with dieting.
Yep.
We could
Yeah.
have the same conversation about calories right now.
Oh, yeah.
So I wanted to mention that, and then there was something else about the 1% challenge that I wanted to mention about easing in, and I've lost it now. So what I will say is that 1%, that could be going to your 401k. It could be going to an emergency savings fund. It can go wherever you want it to go.
Yeah.
It's just that idea of easing in. I just remembered. Okay.
Ooh, exciting.
No, when you were talking about needing to tap that money,
Yeah.
why do you need to tap that money? Because you don't know what your intermittent expenses are.
Yeah, that's a good. Yep, that's a good.
Right.
That's a
So
good
here's where your money affects everything. You've got to really have an overall plan.
Yeah.
And so if you don't know that, oh my gosh, it's February, now's the time I got to pay for all the kids' summer camp, because that's usually when it hits.
Yeah.
And so now you're going to have to tap the emergency fund to make sure that the kids are able to go to camp. And when I say that, so often people will think, well, the kids get camp. Well, for a lot of people, camp is childcare.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily, all about getting the kids to, camp, whatever.
Yeah.
It really is a critical expense for them.
And it's also for a lot of people. Hi there. For a lot of people, there's that's a really important part of the childhood experience, and you don't want to shortchange your kid for that. And it could be something, even if you say, okay, that's a luxury, I don't need to do that. In February, the summer camp is due, but in April, taxes are due if you don't have things set up. And then June rolls around and you have to pay your car insurance. Okay. Right. So, we are talking today's topic about the 1% rule, which is the 1% savings rule. We just started talking about the challenge.
1% challenge, yeah. So if you join us, if you're watching us in the future on YouTube, you have an opportunity in the other future to join us on Caffeine TV. I think my time travel is right there. You can actually type in questions, and so somebody is joining us. Kiddo146 is asking us what our topic is today. And so this idea of reiterating this idea of saving 1% of your income, and then 3 months from now increase that, 3 months from now increase that.
Yeah, to make it more gradual so that it's not as painful for you. If you haven't saved any money, one of the things that Kiddo says is you should save 15%, and that's a good goal. What we found is that a lot of people who haven't saved anything, that can be very challenging. It can be very daunting to suddenly do 15%. So the 1% challenge is the idea: save 1%, and then in 3 months increase that. Every 3 months increase that, and then that way you can then build up and slowly do it and get a good habit going that you will be able to sustain.
So as we're continuing this topic, I'm remembering more and more bits of my speech around this particular topic, and one of it is, again, so often we think, well, 1% is not enough. I want to be more aggressive. I want it now, right? But what ends up happening is, even as you're going along, and it takes you a year to get to that 5% goal, initial 5% goal, you have all that money that you've been saving along the way, right? Whereas, and it's building and it's building and it's building. Where so often we're thinking, well, I'm waiting for that day that I can start saving 10%, and that day gets put off and it gets put off and it gets put off because there's so many other oh, Christmas is coming up. Yeah. Oh, summer camp's coming up. Yeah. You got to have a spending plan, and you got to just...
And so you can think, oh my God, that's horrendous. It's going to take me 3 years to get to 15%. Depending on when you start, 3 years is not that long. If you're a savvy young person and you do this in your 20s, You know, you still got 50 years of earning, 40 years of earning.
Yeah, and quite frankly, the amount of clients that we've worked with in their 50s and 60s that were not savers, you know, a lot of them had worked for companies or like, you know, colleges where they had a built-in retirement savings for them, but outside of that they had no savings themselves, and they were able to make the changes based on just like easing in. I'm a huge fan of baby steps. It's one of the many things that martial arts taught me is you just show up. You gotta, just gotta do it.
So Kiddo phrases it differently. He says, "Cool, I'll be the IRS and just tax myself." And if that works for you, great. Most people don't think very highly of the IRS, so I don't know that I want to. That they want to self-identify with them, but whatever works for you, great. But again, it's the idea of you are. I'm going to turn that around a little bit. I'm saying that you really are doing an investment for yourself more than the taxing, because you really do have the idea behind you that this is money that is going to secure your future, either your near-term future or your long-term future, depending on what your goals are. But it gets you in the habit of exercising that saving muscle, and then as it becomes stronger and stronger, you can make the changes that you need to.
You turn into a good personal finance person.
Exactly.
I mean, it's definitely a building step.
Yeah.
So, anything else we want to talk about with the 1%?
I think that we can get ready to move on to the next topic. So I want to thank you for watching this. For Kiddo and other people who are doing this live, we are going to stop and do some funny things with some video, and then we'll continue on. If you're watching this on YouTube later, this is going to sound a little bit weird, but we're going to stop things, and then you can go find the next video. Okay, so hang with us for a little bit, and we'll go ahead and do the changeover. Thank you.